How you doing? I'm Darren with Kickin BBQ. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Today, we are going to be going over the overnight smoked brisket. If you remember last week's video, I went over how I trimmed this brisket. This week is going to be the cook on that brisket. I've had it in here overnight. We're going to get it seasoned up, get it on. I'm going to run through the process, show you what I look for during tenderness and when I'm going to wrap and everything like that. So hopefully you learned something from this video. It's one of my favorite ways to cook a brisket when I don't want to babysit a smoker all day. So enough chatting. Let's just get in and get this brisket prepped up. All right, so it is the next evening. It is about 10:41 p.m. Getting this brisket ready to go on the smoker overnight. I just had it in my XL barbecue drip easy prep tub. Still a little tacky here. We probably could get away without using a binder, which typically I don't like to use a binder on brisket, but just to make sure, because we've had this not wrapped up overnight, it has dried out a little bit on top. We are just gonna take some Worcestershire sauce and do a light layer on here and on the front, just so our seasoning sticks to it nicely. You're not gonna taste it. It doesn't take much. That is about all we're using, and I'm just gonna get this all over the brisket so we can get a nice layer of seasoning on here. The rub I'm gonna be using today is Sucklebuster's 1836 beef rub. It's a fantastic beef rub. It's very good on brisket. One of my favorites. Haven't used it a whole lot in videos, but I'm telling you, this stuff is fantastic. It's got some really, really nice coarse ground black pepper in there. So I'm just gonna spin this way, and we'll get this brisket seasoned up. Gonna season up nice and high here, just like this. You can see that nice coarse ground black pepper in there. It really looks great, and it's gonna give us a really nice bark. So I'm just gonna get this all pressed in, get this flipped over, and repeat the process on the top side. All right, and there we go. There is our brisket all seasoned up and ready to go on the smoker. We got the bottom, we got the top, we got the sides. We are ready to roll. Today we're gonna be cooking on the Lone Star Grill's pellet grill, rocking at 225 degrees overnight. I've had a lot of people ask if I still have the Lone Star. Of course I do. I still think it is one of the best pellet smokers on the market. And so I figured, you know what? People have been asking about it. We're gonna be cooking on it today. I am going to put a probe dead center in here and just set an alert for 180 degrees. That way, if it happens to go up super quick, I'll get an alert, I can wrap it up. But this thing should not be up to temperature until probably about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, at least, by the time this gets on. It is -7 outside today. Nice thing about the Lone Star grills, I can set a low-high alarm, so if the grill happens to shut off, I'll get an alert if it drops below a certain temp. I can set a high alarm if it starts to get too hot. I can get an alert, go out, check on it, deal with it as need be. Like I said, it's -7 out. There is no way that I am feeding sticks in a stick burner or any other of that nonsense here in Minnesota in the wintertime. So we are rocking on truly one of the best pellet grills on the market. So I will pick back up when we are getting this out on the Lone Star Grill's pellet grill. All right, guys, so there is our brisket. It is sitting at approximately 39.3 degrees, running at 225. It is 11:14. We're getting it on right now. I'm gonna go to bed and we'll check back in the morning. I'll let you know how long it's been. See you then. All right, so it is 9:23 in the morning. It's the first time we're taking a look at the brisket, and yeah, that is looking real nice. That'll do. Sitting at 180 degrees, bark set up where I want it. It is now time to get this in and get it wrapped, so we'll see you in the house. It is extremely cold out this morning, but yeah, look at that bad boy. See you in the house. So here's just another look at our brisket. You can see we have some amazing bark here. Everything's looking good. Like I said, this was temping at around 180 degrees. Put it on about 11 o'clock last night. Took it off around 9:30 this morning. At this point, it is so cold outside, I don't want to use any more pellets. I'm gonna get this wrapped up and get it into my oven at 300 degrees, and we're gonna cook this thing until it's tender. I'll let you know how long that takes, and I'll let you know the internal temperature when it is tender, but this is what we're working with. So I'm gonna get this wrapped up right now. All right, and there we go. All wrapped up, going into 300-degree oven until she is probe tender, and I'll bring you back at that point. All right, so here is our brisket. It is about 11:30 right now, so this is about a 12-hour cook going overnight. So we let her roll from 11:30 last night till 9:30 this morning. Popped it in the oven at 300 degrees. Let it go till it's tender. It's feeling pretty tender right now, so we're gonna just check that and see what our internal temp is at. And you're not gonna wanna go by your internal temp on this. You're gonna wanna go by tenderness, but this is just a guideline of when you can start checking. You can see that brisket looks amazing. Yeah, the foil has softened the bark a little bit, but we're gonna leave this open for 15 minutes. It'll reset the bark. Won't be any issues with the bark being soft or anything like that. So we're gonna vent it off for 15 minutes. Then the bark will reset. We'll get it wrapped back up and we'll let it rest for a few hours until it's time to slice, probably 2-3 hour rest. So I'm just gonna take a thermometer and check for tenderness, and that is feeling really good, absolute butter. Center of the flat is 210.9. And I know that seems high, but when you crank it up to 300 when you wrap, you're gonna have a higher internal temperature for the finish. So this is feeling really, really good. So like I said, I'm gonna let this vent off for 15 minutes, let the bark reset. I'll bring you back and show you how that's looking, and then we'll get this wrapped up, let it rest for a couple hours, slice into it, see how we did. So we'll see you in 15 minutes. All right, so it has been 15 minutes. We've gone ahead and let this bark set up. You can see it looks a lot better, no longer soft. So at this point, I'm just gonna get this wrapped up, leave it on the counter for a couple hours until it rests down to probably around 140 degrees. And we'll slice into it and see how it looks. Still sitting at 197 degrees right now, so it's probably gonna be at least 2 hours before this thing is ready to slice, maybe even 3. So I'm gonna get it wrapped up and we'll see you in a few hours. All right, so it has been 2 hours. We've let this rest down to 140 degrees. We get it out of the wrap here. We'll just take and pour these juices over the top. All right, so here's our brisket now. You can see it looks absolutely beautiful. We have great bark, looking nice and shiny from the juice and that tallow on there. Just take a look at that. Real nice looking brisket. So let's slice into it and see how we did. We go straight down the middle here. Slicing like absolute butter. All right, let's see how we did. Check that out. Beautiful looking brisket, nice and juicy, nice smoke ring on there. Let's get a slice and see how we did. Check that out. Really nice looking slice of brisket. This is extremely tender. You can see we got nice flop to it. Holding up under its own weight here, but just pulls apart with the slightest bit of tug. Check that out. Looks amazing. Great bark on there, not soft at all, even though we wrapped in foil. Everything looks really great. Let's take a slice of the point here. Check that out. Nice and rendered in there. Fat looks rendered on the bottom. Doesn't feel crispy. Just a ton of juice in there. This was a really nice marbled brisket, if you remember. Looks wonderful. So let's jump out and let's do a taste test. All right, so it is time to try this brisket. All in all, it was about 14-hour cook. Pretty hands-off, throw it on, get some sleep. Everything looks really good. Let's go ahead and try a slice of the lean right now. Very good, very tender, super beefy from that 1836 rub. The fat's nice and rendered in there. Nice and pillowy on the bottom, kind of sticky. The fat in the seam is nice and rendered. Let's try a slice of the point. Extremely tender, holding up under its weight, but again, just the slightest pull and it comes right off. Let's give this a shot. Again, really nice flavor, super silky, just really beefy. This is a wonderful slice of point. This brisket turned out awesome, especially for a pretty easy cook. Like I said, trim it up, season it up, throw it on. Everything turned out great. Tender, juicy, nice smoke flavor from the Lone Star Grill's pellet grill. So if you're looking for an easy way to do a brisket, give the overnight method a try. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe, and we will see you next time.